Hi. Oh man, I wonder if I can change this mid-screen. I am using the wrong camera. I'm just gonna have to lift my laptop up so it's at a better angle. Good morning. Good morning. Let's see. I didn't hook it up in the settings to be my webcam, so it's just my laptop camera, which is always the worst angle, but we're gonna make it work because that's what we do. Why is this not staying? Oh, because there's a pen in my book. Hi. Good morning. Okay. Wants to fall down. Okay, hi. Welcome to Miracle Mornings Live. I'm Heidi Hope, and I go live every Tuesday and Thursday with my coffee to share inspirational stories and what I'm working on as an artist and some of the stuff that I do in my coaching membership. So it's usually really uplifting and inspirational. But today it is not. Today we are talking about scams. Say hi in the comment section if you're joining me live. I like to make sure that the live chat is working. I don't like what's happening with my hair right here. Say hi and where you're joining from. So today's episode is all about how I was scammed and hacked and lost my business Facebook page, which had over 61,000 followers, 15 years or more of posting, all of my art and my work and my photography studios and my clients and their pictures and all that stuff was stolen right out from under me while I was on the phone. Well, not phone. That's so old school. I was on a Zoom call. While I was on a Zoom call with the thief themselves. So this is wild that this happened. Hi, Nicole. It's wild that it happened because I consider myself like a scam detector. I think everything's a scam. I always do my research. I throw most junk stuff away. So this is how this happened. Hi from Scituate, Jackie. I recognize your login name. Hi, Jen. Iowa. Nice. So let's see. Let me start with the email that I received. So it started with an email about a month ago. I was invited to be on a podcast. It went to one of my old business email addresses that my husband still managed. So he saw it. He usually just like deletes everything out of there, but he saw it and he was like, oh, this is a cool opportunity, and sent it to me. So there weren't any red flags in the first email. Let me just find it. The podcast that it was going to be was Jen Sturger's podcast. I've reached out to her. She is aware of the scam. So it was an invitation to be on her podcast. I hadn't heard of who she was before. So I wanted to research who she was, and I watched some podcast episodes. She's actually on the Netflix series. It's not a series. It's like a documentary or whatever on, is it The Fall of the House of Favre or whatever? Because she was involved in some scandal with that. So I watched her there. I'd like to see if I liked her, and I did. And I sent it to a few friends, and I was like, "Do you guys think this is legit? And why would she want me on the show? I don't know that I didn't feel like our brands were super in alignment." So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to ask some follow-up questions. So I emailed back with some questions like, hey, how did you find me? Why are you interested in, what about my story do you want to share on the show? Like just some stuff to like get her talking, or, if it was a scam, I figured they wouldn't even respond if it was a scam. So the response email was really thoughtful. So I was like, hey, I actually think they like researched me because it had a lot. I mean, it was a very long, thoughtful email with like all different podcast topics, which were really specific to like me and motherhood and my businesses and art and how I tie art into faith and spirituality and like it had like 10 different podcast topics that were like really on target. Now I look back at it, I'm like, they probably chat GPT. They were probably like, what are good podcast topics to ask like Heidi Hope, and chat GPT did. But whatever. I fell for it. So I was like, okay, I guess they're really serious. So we went back and forth scheduling the show time. And then finally they were like, okay, we're just going to need to do a Zoom call sometime before the live show, which was scheduled for September, just to make sure you have all the tech set up so that you can join the podcast live. So that sounded normal. One of the other red flags is that it was a paid podcast appearance. Um, this is what Jen was like, well, obviously, I'm not paying people $3,000 to be on my show. But for me, I do get speaker fees to speak at conferences and to go on podcasts. And so that to me was not a red flag because that's kind of like normal for me to get paid. But for other people, I guess that's a red flag. So then we set the date for the tech call. So that was just on Monday night or Monday afternoon. It was around 3 o'clock. I get on the tech call. Their Zoom is, oh, the other thing about the emails, because I was researching to try to make sure this wasn't a scam. I clicked, they had like a very professional signature. They used all her branding. They used her picture. It was a Gmail account, Jen Sturger podcast at gmail.com. They had multiple Jen Sturger email accounts. They used her picture as the profile picture. They had like a professionally designed header. It all matched her branding. Underneath the footer, all matched. Links all went like to her. All the links went to her actual social feeds. There was like not even a single dead link. They went to her podcast. They went to her Instagram. I started following her. I started watching some of her shows. So like, I don't know. I really thought this was legit. Then we have the tech call, and all of his branding was Join Live. That was the branding they were using. So he was supposedly tech support helping me set up the app Join Live so that I could join the live interview. It all made sense to me for the podcast, which was going to be on Facebook Live. So we go into my Facebook. Now this is where I think the scam happens, and it's really specific. So it was about a 40-minute call. He was like, spoke very good English, was polite, super knowledgeable. So, like there was stuff I couldn't find that I was confused on. He knew exactly what he was doing. Apparently, at one point, I was like, "This is so confusing." He's like, "I do it 100 times a day." So apparently, he scams people all day long. So he walks me through setting up my settings in the back end and giving Join Live under one of my ad accounts. I have multiple ad accounts with multiple assets. Thank God, my Heidi Hope business page was under an ad account that had no other assets, because all of my meta, like, had everything else been attached to it, I would have lost everything. My whole Instagram, all of my business pages. I still have the Photographer Rising business page on Facebook, which has a big audience. It's a little dead because I haven't been posting to it, but at least I can still use that as a way to reach people on that platform. So I'm thankful. I'm thankful it wasn't worse. So one of the things we had to do was disconnect my Instagram to get this all to work. And thank God we did that. So we disconnected that. So that disconnected all control of all my meta and only assigned the page asset. So we assign an admin to Join Live, and I believe it was my email address that we put in there. It was a Gmail address, one of many. So that's all set up. He's like, all right, well, wait, like within 24 to 48 hours, just give me a call back and we'll be able to finish this process and we can get your Instagram hooked back up and everything. So about 2 hours later, I get another email from him, and it says, oh, we forgot to reconnect your Instagram account. I can help you, walk you through that right now. But I was cooking dinner. So I was like, I just ignored it. I was like, you know what? I'll wait till this is all set. I actually took notes on like the whole process, everything that he was doing, like, because I really thought I was going to have to know what I was doing to join the podcast live. He had said that, like, oh, this was the other thing. He showed a screenshot of the back end of his Facebook. It was a doctored photograph, obviously. He said he was sharing his screen, and he showed his screen, and it looked like the whole back end of his Facebook. And there was a button where it says go live. There was another button that said join live. And he said, oh, you don't have the join live, so we need to set that up for you. So that's kind of like how this all progressed. And that made sense. It all made sense to me. So thankfully didn't hook the Instagram back up. The next morning, I come in here to check if the button's there, and I can't access my page. It doesn't exist. and my heart just sunk. I was like, it was like all like everything was starting to register. I don't know if you've ever been stolen from before or robbed, but it's like shocking at first. You're like, wait a minute, wait a minute. So I email him. This is how nice he was. I was like, we did something wrong here. I can't find my Facebook page anymore, but I'm thinking like he's the tech support. He's gonna help me find it. It's kind of funny looking back on it. So I'm like, and then there was also a woman whose email address I had used for advertising before in the past, and you give people permissions back there all the time when you use advertisers, so or marketing companies or whatever. So like even I wasn't afraid to give somebody access back there. I had people running ads for me for many many years, so that was like I think I was maybe too trusting in that department. Anyways, somehow overnight he went in when I went into the ad account, I looked and I saw a Gmail account that I didn't recognize. And that I was like, wait a minute, somebody else got access to this account. I go into my Gmail, type in that Gmail address. I got a notification overnight that somebody was given admin access to my page. And then they basically moved my page into their own ad account as their own asset as an admin because they gave themselves admin permission and then they shut off my admin permission. So I'm still locked out of that ad account. I'm like, I don't have the permission to see anything. The page is gone, I believe. I was able to track down the page. It is now under the name of Fabrizio Debilia in on 37731 7th Avenue, New York, New York, United States. It still has my 61,000 followers, but everything else on the page is completely deleted off and it has a new link. So if you go to facebook.com/Heidi Hope Creative, it's not going to be there anymore. It shows this page doesn't exist. But the page itself is still in existence with the fans. So then I was like, of course, really, I went through like shock, anger, betrayal, all the stages of grief. Um, and like I couldn't believe that. I still was like, wait a minute, this can't be happening. I can't have lost everything. So this was all on Tuesday when I would have been live here, but I was like trying to deal with all that and figure out what was going on. So I came to terms with it. I mean, there's nothing, I had to look at it like, and this is something I coach. So I believe that like everything happens for a reason, and even like really hard things and even losses, because we're humans and part of the human experience is losing people, losing things, losing careers, losing job, whatever, like losing stuff that we love. There is loss is just a part of life. And it's like, you can't fight it, you know? So, I mean, I'm doing all the stuff. I've reported the guy. I'm doing this video hopefully to educate other people about what this scam is. Apparently, now that I've been doing more research into it, Jen Sturger does know about the scam. She said there's nothing that they can really do about it. They also impersonate other podcasts. So she's one of them, but I've heard similar stories from other people joining other podcasts, paid or unpaid. And they target a lot of established businesses because they want pages that I guess it's like a data gold mine for them. It also could be connected to a lot of credit cards and financial accounts too. But just the page in and of itself is an asset that they can sell or make money off of by selling all the data. And if a page has built a lot of audience trust and all that, I don't know. Who knows? We're going to be seeing Fabrizio selling Bitcoin soon, probably from my page. So if you see any posts from Fabrizio, it's a little girl's picture next to the name, obviously stolen, then you can report it. I'm still going to do what I can try to do on Facebook. If you know anybody there, I mean, I've just heard it's really hard. I had not been verified beforehand. So I do want to share a few things that could have helped this not happen. Like I said, I got a couple lucky breaks. This could have been way worse, and I would be way more devastated if I didn't have some other channels to still connect with people. But it was just one piece of something I built, and it's okay. And with stealing, like, I am very familiar with theft in business. It's been like a reoccurring theme for me to forgive. um, I had a lot of my paintings stolen. If you've been with me for a long time, you probably know this. I had a lot of my paintings stolen, and then reproduced. They were being reproduced as backdrops in China and sold for. I had a backdrop company, and so they were just. I hired expensive lawyers. We tried to fight it, and they were basically like, Nike can't even, like, doesn't even have enough money or like deep enough pockets to really combat counterfeit goods coming out of China. So like, I'm this small artist with not a huge legal budget, trying to battle this thing that is, a really hard battle to fight. So eventually, after spending a lot of money, I gave up on that battle. And all you can do really is just try to protect yourself from the scams, try to protect your work as an artist. Copyright, I did register copyright and got trademarks for things and all that stuff. You can do all that as an artist to protect your work. Photographers know, as a fruit fly, photographers, it's really common in our industry for photos to be stolen. One of the things that happened early on in my career, before I was even on Facebook, I used to photo share on a website called Flickr. Any photographers watching this, tell me if you remember being on Flickr. It was a photo sharing website that was really popular at the time. And someone had stolen my photos off of there. They stole photos of my oldest daughter, Juliana, when she was a baby, and they created this whole like fake adoption website, and it really freaked me out. Like, I was just so nervous about protecting our address and like where we were, like security features on the phones and where we are, location services. I'm still like that. I'm still like psycho with security. So that's why this is like wild that this even happened to me, and why I want to share it with others, because I feel like if it could happen to me, it could happen to anybody. I'm like pretty tech savvy person, and I've run my own podcast before. Like, I've been in the back end of my Facebook ads before. Like, I'm familiar with all this stuff, and there really weren't any big red flags. One thing I wish I had done is reach out to Jen Sturger's Instagram, went back when I was like looking into this, and just giving a casual like, "Hey, thanks for inviting me on the podcast." I wish I, instead of emailing back that address to ask those questions, I wish I had asked via one of her other platforms. So I would recommend you do something like that. So if you're getting a podcast invite, um, do your due diligence and try to connect with them outside of that original like chain of conversation. So whatever way they contacted you. Another red flag that I recognize now looking back was how quickly he was trying to get me to set everything up. Like, it was, and I guess this is what they do. And this is what they do on the phone too. It's like everything's so fast that you don't have time to question or think about what they're telling you to do. It's like, oh, yeah, okay. Like, and he was just very much like, okay, now go back to this tab, go there, click this, go there. Nope, that one, and you're like looking around the screen trying to follow everything he's saying. And that's one of their tactics. So that's definitely a red flag that I should have like slowed down. And and another thing, I didn't want to disconnect my Instagram, but I'm thankful I did. But that was one point where I paused and I was like, wait a minute, I don't know if I want to mess this all up back here by disconnecting my Instagram and whatever. But oh my God, thank God I did, because it would have been way worse if that was all attached. So whatever. I'm just sharing like some of the things that may come up that you could see, to prevent falling for something like this, because like I said, it was very elaborate. It's ongoing. I think there was I when I googled Jen Sturger scam. That's another thing you can do. Google like whatever your invitation is with the word scam and see if anything comes up. And I didn't do that the first time, but when I did afterwards, there were a few things, and this has been going on for, it was like a year ago, one of the posts that I saw. So it's been going on for a long time. I've heard from many artists and photographers who have had this happen to them, or like creative business owners. So I don't know if they target creative business owners specifically, but I think they're just looking for established pages that post frequently, and small businesses and like single owner type businesses. So, yeah, those are some of the things I would suggest for you if you get an invitation that seems too good to be true, or is comes out of the blue. Um, then you can kind of look into some of those backgroundy things to see. So right now, if you are on Facebook and you used to follow my Heidi Hope Creative, you can find me over on my Photographer Rising page. So it's Photographer Rising, and I think I put the nickname as Heidi Hope. This is the other crazy thing. I'm trying to change the name Photographer Rising to Heidi Hope, and they won't let me. And I'm like, wait a minute, the hacker was able to change my business page to Fabrizio Debbie Leah overnight with no questions asked. There's a dang fruit fly that is like really bugging me. Um, but I, the owner of the page for over 15 years, can't change it into my own name. Oh, Meta drives me crazy. So I'm gonna hopefully get that changed over. But for now, it's Photographer Rising, which is fine. Which is fine. So you can find me over there now. I'm trying to think if there's any like important things that I left out. No, I guess the moral of the story though is just like when something like this happens, um, you it's okay to be upset for a minute, but don't stay in that energy. The sooner you can get into the energy of this is a question I ask in my coaching all the time. So it was a great a great way for me to practice it in a really big way with something big was just like what if everything's working out in my favor? Yes, like even a loss, even something like this that seems really bad at first, what if it's working out in my favor? Like, what if I'm the voice that needs to go online and tell the story to stop the scammers? What if I grow my YouTube channel? What if I'm meant to grow my YouTube channel and like I don't need that Facebook page anymore? What if something really big is coming in? And I always think like before we receive something really huge in life or a really big breakthrough in life, usually there's a falling away of the old. Usually there's some kind of like loss that happens that's like a letting go, a release. And sometimes we want to let that thing go. Sometimes we want to release that thing. And other times it's pride from our hands, um, right out from under our nose on a Zoom call. But if it's meant to go, release it and like just trust that it's making space for something bigger and better. So that's my mindset on it now. I did have my day of rage and crying and disbelief and being dumbfounded. But now I recognize it could have been a lot worse. And I'm actually really thankful that I still have some ways to connect with my audiences. So if you like today's episode, give it a thumbs up. I mean, I know it's not really the funnest topic, but I think it's really useful. And hopefully, I can spare even just one business owner from losing their life's work on their Facebook page. Then it will have been worthwhile. So share it with small business owners, please. And always like, comment, share. Even if you're watching the replay, it helps the algorithm. I am now I'm reviving my Facebook page and this YouTube channel, which I hadn't posted to in a very, very long time. And it takes a long time for the algorithms to favor you again if you have taken off years of posting. So anything you can do, even leaving a review, if you've ever worked with me, leaving a review over on the Photographer Rising Facebook page, because I lost like hundreds of 5-star reviews on my old business. But all these things help, and they just help it reach more people. So I appreciate you watching, liking, commenting, and being a part of my community. Have a good day, everyone.